How we doing, friends? My name is Jesse and welcome back to Male Nurse Mentor. For today's video, I have 5 tips for those new grad nurses entering the workforce here pretty soon. These are going to be some tips just to get your leg up going into that period of time that could also be really stressful. I remember what it feels like. It's like you make it through the whole program, that was stressful. You make it through NCLEX, obviously that was very difficult. And now here's the final phase, right? The one that we've always been waiting for. Finally going to get that job, to make some money, to make a difference, to be out in the field. Some of these tips are going to include things you could do after you're done, once you graduate and get licensed, but also what you can do in that final semester to prepare, to get yourself ready to get into that workforce. So if you're wondering what things you could do in that final semester, I got some good tips here for you of some things that you can do to get yourself ready while you're waiting. So friends, sorry for the shadows and stuff in the background. Daylight savings time, spring forward here in California. I shoot these videos early when I wake up. This first thing that I got is in your last semester, attempt to align your clinical site with one you want to work in after getting licensed, then network with the manager while you're still in school. That's what I did. I did my hours at a facility about an hour away because I was putting a bid out there saying, hey, I'm local to that hospital. That's the hospital I would work at when I'm done. If I could do my hours at that place, it would be even better for me because I can align myself with the job opportunity as soon as I graduate. And it worked out and I was able to do my hours there. Doing my hours there allowed me to then connect with people that work there. I was then able to get a hold of an email of the nurse manager of the floor that I was working on, sent an email, hey, would it be okay if I shadow you? You know, I'm here doing my preceptorship clinical hours. You know, I'm looking for a nurse manager to shadow for a few hours just to see what it's like. And they agreed. I went in, I met that manager, I shadowed them for like an hour or two and that was it. And in that moment, in that interaction, I was able to kind of get that connection with this manager. Let them know, hey, I'm graduating at this time. You know, I'm local to this area. I would really like to apply for this hospital. That interaction helped me network and get that connection. Because in response, the nurse manager said, oh, that's awesome. Like, yeah, of course. Like, you know, I get to see your face. You know, I have a name to a face. When you submit your application, you know, I'll make sure to keep an eye out for that one. And that was it. That was that connection. After when I graduated, I sent another email saying, hey, I graduated. I'm looking forward to applying. Do you know when you're going to have any job postings, you know, for new grads or just in general? And then they responded, and then they said, whenever you submit your application, I'll be trying to look out for it. That's a connection. That's the number one thing I can recommend to you guys going into that final semester of your nursing program, into graduation, into passing your NCLEX, into entering the job market. Do this. If I caught you early enough to try to do this, you should. And regardless, the same thing that I'm saying here can happen for any hospital you do your last semester clinical hours in. If it's a hospital that's not local to you, maybe you have to move when you graduate. Because if you can get a connection, that's how you get in as a new grad to some of these hospitals. That's one of the best ways to do it. And make yourself stand out. So for this number 2 that I have, I've made a video on this before. It's create a LinkedIn account. Like, recruiters are gonna be looking for you. You have a profile. With that profile, you can job hunt, right? You can be specific for psych, hospitals, you know, corrections, different settings. Like, try it. Just go on there and search for a nurse job. But you have to have a profile first. This is one thing I actually didn't think of until I think I was trying to switch jobs at some point in my career. So I didn't actually graduate and have a LinkedIn. But looking back, if I would have had one, my job opportunities would have expanded, right? I would have had more opportunities to look at for jobs. Obviously, you can always look at specific hospitals and their career postings page, but LinkedIn is a place where they may have other opportunities as well, even part of those hospitals, maybe some that you miss. And if nothing else, recruiters can find you, so it's worth having a LinkedIn account. I did create a video where I give you an example of a walkthrough of me creating a LinkedIn account. I'll link that video in the description box below and take a look. I can't stress this one enough, and just keep it updated, right? I know as a new grad, you're not gonna have much on there, but later when you get that first job, update it. And you know, when you move on throughout your career, continue to update that. If you wanna see an example of a LinkedIn account, I always have mine referenced on my website, californiaprenursing.com. Go to the About Me section. I have a link there to my LinkedIn account. Go check it out if you want to see a good example. This is a very easy one to do, but it does help. Try it. You have nothing to lose. It's all free. For this next one, friends, number 3, consider applying for rural hospitals and less desired hospital locations and relocate. Be open to relocating when you're done with your nursing program and graduated. The reason why is those hospitals that are very popular are highly sought out, right? It's very competitive. You're just gonna be one of many new grad applicants throughout the state that you're getting licensed that wants to go work at that major hospital. And you have to keep in mind, some students may have already done their clinical hours there. So now you're competing with those people that I mentioned in my number 1 that already have those connections. They already networked. They're already familiar to those managers. So if you're coming in from the outside, if you're not a standout candidate, you're gonna be having a hard time, right? And how do you even stand out as a new grad? Well, you really can't, right? You're one of plenty of other new grads, all willing to get paid the same amount. And if they know someone's name, know someone's character, know how someone has worked there doing their preceptorship hours, and you come in and they don't know you, it's gonna be very difficult to get that position, right? So my point is, if you didn't do your hours in a highly popular hospital and you're trying to apply there and you're having issues and you're struggling to get hired there, I suggest you go and work at those rural hospitals. Get some experience. During that entire time though, you can continue to keep applying at other hospitals that you really want to get into and those specialties you really want to get into, but at least you're getting experience. You might have had to bite the bullet here to go to a rural hospital, relocate, work at a hospital you don't really care for, don't want to work for. You're still a nurse, still getting paid, getting experience, and then you leverage that into those hospitals that you actually want to get into. That's something that is a reality check when it comes to entering the workforce as a new grad nurse. Keep all of this in mind here at number 3. This might be you, so that's my workaround in that situation. And oftentimes the barrier is ourselves, not wanting to relocate, not wanting to move away from family. That's a big hurdle, I get it, but sometimes you have to do that in order to actually get those opportunities and work as a nurse, begin to make that money, build out your life. So in essence, be willing to make that move if you have to. So for this next one, friends, here at number 4, this might be something you're already aware of, but just as a reminder, attend those job fairs. Network in person. I know sometimes they even do these virtually now. So attend these. Sometimes you're gonna see the hospital, post out these job fair opportunities. Go, create your resume, get a good resume, updated, bring it with you, and just network, right? Hey, what are the opportunities that are gonna be available for new grads? What are reasons to work here? I just got licensed, I'm looking for a job opportunity. I'd be really excited to work here at your facility, and I feel like I'd be a really good fit. What are the names of some of the nurse managers? Things like that, right? Just go and network, meet with those people. It will be worth your time and effort. And especially if you don't even know where you want to work. Sometimes going to these events, it gives you a good feeling of some of those people in those leadership positions, and maybe you connect to somebody, right? Maybe they like you as much to offer you an opportunity to interview right then and there, and then maybe offer you a job soon after. So attend those job fair opportunities, look out for them. LinkedIn is a place that often does post these as well. So going back to that tip. Otherwise, this is another tip here that I like to mention. And here at number 5, friends, it's like also in a way to kind of close out like my final step, right? If you find yourself in this position, right, really struggling to get hired as a nurse, this is kind of the last thing you can do, right? In a way, maybe it's not what you wanted to do, but it'll still be worth your time to do this, right? It's to look for a nursing position in a alternative specialty. If you were really gung-ho and trying to get into the hospital and you're just really having a hard time, you can't find that rural hospital to even hire you as well, you're just really struggling, right? You might have to go into another nursing specialty temporarily because we need to survive, we need that money. So if you're really struggling, get your foot into an alternative nursing specialty, whether it's psych, maybe corrections like myself, something outpatient, maybe even a SNF if you really have to, skilled nursing facility. I've seen many nurses do this. Get your foot in somewhere, get some experience. During this entire time, don't give up. As you're working for this employer, at this place you really don't want to work, you are getting experience. During that time, you're going to keep applying for those places. Keep an eye out for those places you want to work at. I've seen this happen many, many times. A lot of new nurses come and have worked in corrections, just as an example. The entire time, they know they want to go work in a hospital. They come here to corrections, work while they're here, do their thing, get some experience as a nurse professionally, and they eventually get an interview, do well, and get hired at a hospital and leave corrections. And now they're at a place where they really wanted to be this entire time. But they started somewhere else, and sometimes that's just what you have to do. So I just wanted to let you know of this tip here at the very end, because you may eventually find yourself in this position. And who knows, maybe you actually end up liking the alternative option, and maybe later down the road you do get that chance, right, with some actual professional nursing experience to get into those places you want to. There's always ways to finagle this, right? For me, I knew I never wanted to work in a hospital. I was very set on that. For me, I jumped into corrections. From corrections, I now work from home. There's just different ways to navigate your career. You just have to always be intentional with it, right? Have a plan, stick to it, do what you have to do sometimes in order to make it through certain periods in this journey, right, of your nursing journey. So there's always a route. Let me tell you that from someone who's experienced that, right? There's always a route. You may have to go back to school, you may have to be creative, but there's always a route to get to the place in your nursing career where you want to go. Don't let people tell you there isn't. I've experienced this firsthand myself. Anyways, friends, that's going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed a video like this, hit the like button. Make sure to always subscribe for more videos. I do post every Monday as I continue to work my 40 hours over here myself. I'm still actively working as a nurse in this field. If you're trying to find ways to reach me, follow me on Instagram, send me a DM. I always answer any simple questions there. If your question is a little bit more difficult, there's a lot of nuances, the one way that I recommend we answer that question is you sign up for a mentorship call. That's also available on my website, californiaprenursing.com. I also have some other services on there. Make sure to check out that website if you're curious. I'm always here, friends. You know where to find me. Reach out anytime. See you guys on the next video.